Imagine waking up alone, millions of miles away from Earth, with no memory of who you are, and slowly realizing that the entire human race is depending on you to survive. This isn't just another space movie. Project Hail Mary is one of the most emotional, intelligent, and terrifying sci-fi stories ever made. A story about sacrifice, survival, friendship, and the impossible mission to save Earth from extinction. And trust me, the ending of this movie changes everything. So today, we're breaking down the entire story of Project Hail Mary from beginning to ending. Let's begin. The movie starts in complete silence. A man suddenly wakes up inside a strange spaceship. He has tubes connected to his body, strange machines surrounding him, and no idea where he is. At first, he can barely walk. He can't even, making the entire scene feel disturbing and lonely. Slowly, fragments of memory begin returning. His name is Ryland Grace, a middle school science teacher. And outside the ship's window, there's nothing but endless darkness. No Earth, no rescue, no way home. Only one terrifying realization. He's on a mission that could decide the fate of humanity. As Grace's memories return, we learn what happened back on Earth. Scientists discovered a strange microorganism in space called astrophage. This organism was absorbing energy directly from the sun. At first, it seemed harmless, but then scientists realized something horrifying. The sun itself was slowly losing energy. And not just Earth's sun. Stars across the galaxy were dimming. Global temperatures on Earth began dropping year after year. Crops started failing. Governments panicked. Human civilization was heading toward an Ice Age-level extinction event. And nobody understood how to stop. A cold, ruthless scientist chosen to lead humanity's survival mission. She didn't care about politics. She didn't care about laws. Only results. And honestly, she became one of the most terrifying yet brilliant characters in the entire story. Scientists eventually discovered something strange. One nearby star, called Tau Ceti, was not dimming like the others. Something there was stopping astrophage, which meant humanity had hope. If they could reach Tau Ceti, study what was happening, and send the answer back to Earth, humanity might survive. But there was one problem. Tau Ceti was over 11 light years away. No human had ever traveled that far. The mission sounded impossible. But astrophage itself accidentally became the solution. Scientists learned that astrophage could store insane amounts of energy, far more than nuclear fuel. Using it, humanity built the first interstellar spaceship ever created, the Hail Mary, a desperate final attempt to save Earth. At first, Grace wasn't supposed to go on the mission. He was only helping scientists understand astrophage. Before becoming a teacher, he had been a molecular biologist, and his scientific discoveries became critical to the mission. But the original astronauts died before launch, and Eva Stratt forced Grace onto the ship, literally against his will. This moment is shocking because Grace isn't some fearless hero. He's terrified. He wants to live. He doesn't want to die in space. And that makes him feel real. Unlike typical movie protagonists, he's just an ordinary person pushed into impossible circumstances. Eventually, the Hail Mary launches toward Tau Ceti, while Earth waits for a miracle. Back in the present timeline, Grace fully realizes the situation. The two dead crew members beside him were his teammates. They died during the long journey because of complications from suspended animation. Now, he's truly alone. No human contact, no Earth communication, nothing. The isolation scenes here are incredible. You can literally feel the psychological pressure crushing him. But then, something impossible happens. Grace discovers another spaceship near Tau Ceti, an alien ship, which means humanity isn't alone. This is where the movie becomes truly unforgettable. Grace cautiously tries communicating with the alien ship. At first, both sides are terrified. Neither understands the other. Then, the alien finally reveals himself. A giant spider-like creature made of rock-like material. 5 legs, strange clicking sounds, completely different from humans, but not evil. The alien's name is Rocky. And surprisingly, Rocky is trying to solve the exact same problem. His species is also dying because of astrophage. That realization changes everything. 2 species from different worlds meeting in deep space, both trying to save their civilizations. Honestly, this becomes the emotional heart of the movie. At first, communication is difficult. Humans use sound and vision. Rocky's species communicates differently. But through science, mathematics, and patience, they slowly begin understanding each other. And these scenes are amazing. Watching 2 completely different species build friendship without sharing a language feels incredibly emotional. Eventually, they start teaching each other words, joking together, working together, trusting each other. And somehow, Rocky becomes one of the most lovable sci-fi characters ever created. The loneliness that nearly destroyed Grace slowly disappears. For the first time in years, he isn't alone anymore. Together, Grace and Rocky finally discover the truth. Another organism called Taumoeba feeds on astrophage. And inside Tau Ceti's system, Taumoeba is keeping astrophage under control. That's why the star survived. This discovery could save Earth. But there's another problem. Taumoeba can't survive Earth's atmosphere naturally. So Grace must genetically modify it before returning the solution home. The tension rises massively here because time is running out. Earth is freezing. Millions are probably already dying. And one mistake could destroy humanity's final hope. Just when success seems possible, disaster happens. A chain reaction damages Rocky's ship. His entire species faces extinction if he can't return home. And suddenly, Grace faces the biggest decision of the story. He finally has the chance to save himself. He can complete his mission and possibly return toward Earth. Or he can sacrifice everything to save Rocky. At first, Grace chooses Earth. But then, something changes inside him. Throughout the story, he transformed from a coward into someone willing to risk his life for others, especially for his friend. So Grace turns the ship around and goes back for Rocky. This moment is honestly one of the most emotional scenes, but through kindness and cooperation, Grace manages to save Rocky. Together, they repair the alien ship and ensure Taumoeba can eventually reach Earth. But during the process, Grace loses his chance to return home, meaning he'll never see Earth again. Ever. And yet, he accepts it. That's what makes his character arc so powerful. At the beginning, he was terrified to die. Now, he's willing to sacrifice his entire future for billions of strangers. And for his friend. Years later, Grace arrives on Rocky's home planet. And honestly, the ending is beautiful. Rocky's species welcomes him as a hero. Grace becomes a teacher once again. Only this time, he's teaching alien children. Far away from Earth, far away from humanity, but no longer alone. And finally, we learned that the Taumoeba solution successfully reached Earth. Humanity survived. The sun recovered. Civilization was saved. because one frightened science teacher chose compassion over selfishness. And that's what makes Project Hail Mary so special. It's not just about space. It's about hope, friendship, sacrifice, and the idea that even across